Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for introducing me as the Managing Director of Climate Alliance Germany. Climate Alliance Germany is an NGO. We are civil society, and I think it's one of the only organizations here during this event where civil society has an opportunity to say something. So I'm grateful for that. Anyway, just for also it might be interesting for you to know that I'm also a member of the German Hydrogen Council. So for 3 years, I discuss with representatives of the industry, of the universities and so on, how we develop further the issue of hydrogen, because hydrogen is key for decarbonization. But we as a council also said, but if we want to decarbonize, we also have to look at the sustainability criteria for the hydrogen production. So I would like to recommend to you also to have a look at the website of the National Hydrogen Council, because you have some very interesting information on what the council is advising to do, how to develop the H2 production. And I would like to highlight some of the issues. So why do we talk about hydrogen? The main issue why we talk about it is because we need hydrogen for climate protection. But for us, it's very important that not every form of hydrogen production, nor every possibility to use hydrogen contributes really to climate protection. And therefore, to us, it is important which color of hydrogen we are producing and using. So only green hydrogen contributes really to climate protection. Blue hydrogen is not climate neutral, but suffers still from methane leakages and some carbon dioxide emissions. So therefore, blue hydrogen use increases just fossil gas use, and that is really not in the interest, or that cannot be in our interest. So new fossil infrastructure will end as stranded asset or contribute further to global warming if we think that blue hydrogen is a valid option. And we also recommend that we only look at the climate-friendly use of hydrogen. That means that we look mainly at steel production, at fertilizer production, and other chemical feedstocks. That we look at energy storage, at peak load balancing in the electricity and heat grids, and as a transport fuel in areas where really only in those areas where electrification isn't a choice. And also in the light of what has happened last year, we have to reflect on the energy scarcity. I mean, last winter, energy poverty was real for significant parts of the European population. And worldwide, the number of people who live without electricity has risen in 2022, reaching nearly 775 million people. So it is not enough of a challenge to provide enough renewable energy for overcoming energy poverty and the global energy transition. And we have to consider, when we look at the opportunities of hydrogen, hydrogen production is energy intensive. So we have to prioritize direct electrification wherever possible. I think that should be clear. Now, it was said that I look at only at the social aspects, but actually it's the sustainability aspects. And that means that we look at the economic, at the ecologic, and the social aspect together. And we as council, but also as organization working on climate-related issues, to us it's not only important that we look at the climate-friendly and just hydrogen economy. it is not enough to produce hydrogen from renewable energies. But there are other criteria that are quite important that have to be considered if we really want to embark on a sustainable production of hydrogen. And I would like to highlight 6 of the criteria we especially emphasize. The first one I would like to mention is the additionality. Renewable energy power plants used to produce hydrogen for export must be built in addition to facilities already included in the respective countries' binding target planning. That is what we think is very important. So otherwise, the export of renewable hydrogen would prolong the domestic energy supplies used for fossil fuels. Yesterday we talked to a representative of Namibia. I think it's very obvious, you know, if we continue doing that, we will prolong the use of coal in the system of several countries where we want to establish a hydrogen production. Ideally, the hydrogen economy's development will strengthen the producing countries' climate ambitions. I mean, that would be actually the ideal case. Yeah, then looking at the second criteria, that is prioritization of local supply. So overcoming local energy poverty and ensuring local energy transitions must take precedence over hydrogen exports. And I think that is what the countries that produce the hydrogen will also consider that. This could be reached, for example, by additional capacities used for renewable energy generation accessible to the local population. Then the third criteria is the issue of water supply. Export projects must not jeopardize local water supply. I mean, looking at Namibia, it's very obvious they want to establish a huge plant in a desert. So if new water sources, for example, and that is what will happen there, desalination plants are developed for hydrogen production or its further processing. So these should contribute to reducing any overall water stress in the production region. Now, looking also not only at the social aspects, but also at the ecological aspect, because these are sustainability criteria, as I said, that is nature conservation and land ownership. So what is sometimes encountered are forced resettlements, and that should be avoided. And illegal land grabs must be completely ruled out. So where land competition arises, it will be necessary to seek out coexisting and synergetic approaches. And we are of the opinion that green electricity and green hydrogen plants must be built to be compatible with the nature that is surrounding it. So by all means, the minimum standards of the preservation of biodiversity are necessary to avoid ecological damage. Now coming to the next point, and I'm sure you're not surprised that especially a representative from a civil society organization is highlighting this point, that is participation and good governance. Because in most of the time, many projects are introduced top-down and the local population is not heard and consulted. So please consider free, prior and informed consent, meaning local and indigenous communities, traditional land has to be respected, grazing and water use rights are to be uplifted and respected. Moreover, projects on such lands may only be carried out with the free, prior and informed consent of these communities. I mean, you know that there are certain agreements where this is already fixed, and I hope that to all your industries it's known and common knowledge that this has to be respected. So effective anti-corruption regulation, I think I don't have to go into details why this is important. So also genuine participation, capacity building for local actors, transparent grievance mechanisms, participation in decision-making of local citizens, all this important. I mean, now in Germany we see the whole discussion around the GEG, and we realize how it is if people are not consulted, if it's not discussed properly, what people are coming from outside are introducing. And if people are having the feeling that they are not heard and respected. So, involve local residents and civil society actors in the planning, implementation, and monitoring of projects. Then, moreover, what is also crucial for those areas or countries where you start hydrogen production, economic development is a big issue. Job creation, education and training programs for local workforce, because it can't be that only specialists from outside are the ones benefiting from the programs that are introduced in the respective countries. Ensure value creation in the hydrogen producing country and regions. And there are different options. So, for example, that hydrogen supply for the local industry. I know that in some countries also we have a steel production, so why not also using the hydrogen for the decarbonization of this steel production in the respective countries. Building up facilities for producing derivatives and higher value downstream products, and supporting local businesses to get engaged in the green energy and hydrogen economy. So, to conclude, we have the unique opportunity to create a hydrogen economy that provides green energy supply and economic development on all sides, and that it protects the climate and the environment. And I wrote here, let's go to work. I think you are working already, but I would say please consider also the sustainability criteria when you establish a hydrogen economy. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Christiane. We have some time for questions, and we will pick the one that's most liked here, and this reads as follows. Can you explain the rationale behind hydrogen use in heating grids? So why does that make sense from your point of view?
Actually, we don't think that it makes sense in heating grids. Actually, it's the opposite. We think that's a waste, especially as we need hydrogen for other purposes. I mean, I highlighted at the beginning that it's very crucial for steel, for decarbonization, the chemical sector. So therefore, we think that on the long run, and that's why we really are not happy about this ready, I mean hydrogen ready aspects in the new law, because we think that on the long run it will be damn expensive, because hydrogen on the long run is more needed in other sectors and will be therefore a very expensive commodity for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And we don't want the blue hydrogen. You know, that is the reason why we have to say no blue hydrogen. It's not helping, because it's also not good in the sense of decarbonization.
In terms of blue hydrogen, there was also a question. Do you think that it is at least maybe necessary as a bridge technology to close the gap between demand and supply?
If I say yes, I know that some people say if I say less, I give you the small finger, as we say in German. My fear is that really the gas industry is trying to prolong its business case through blue hydrogen. And I think that should not be an option. And therefore, I say only if it is really necessary. And therefore, I mean, only that you are aware, as civil society organization, we know that it is crucial also to observe what you are doing in the industries, how you're developing this business case. We are in contact with civil societies all over the world, and we are watching the process very clearly, and are engaged with government in discussions about what we think is the right path to decarbonized society.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for your perspective here on the stage. Dr. Christiane Averbeck, ladies and gentlemen.